Hi, my name is Patricia Sanford and I'm director here at the Maryland Archaeological Conservation Lab.
Hi everybody, I'm Alice Merkel. I'm a collections assistant here at the Maryland Archaeological Conservation Lab at JeffPat.
So we're here today at the MAC Lab to talk about one of my favorite things to do in archaeological analysis, and that's mending ceramics. So mending ceramics means taking broken pieces and using glue or adhesive to mend them or fit them back together. And why would archaeologists want to do that? Well, first of all, when you glue fit ceramics back together, you get these beautiful pieces like these that you see here. But more importantly, what archaeologists do when they can glue fit pieces back together is establish relationships between different parts of your site. So for example, this piece of pottery came from a trash area at a slave quarter site. This piece came from another trash pit about 250 feet away. By seeing that they mend together or glue fit back together, we know that the trash in both of these trash pits was discarded by the same people, so we can establish that relationship on our site.
So to start this activity, you're going to want to find some old pottery from around your house or go to your local thrift store to find some cool stuff. We prefer stuff with patterns, something cool to look at, so when you recreate the image, it adds a little fun. Alright, and so you want to start off nice and safely, so we have our safety goggles. We also have some tea towels for wrapping our ceramic, and a good old hammer or something that's going to break the ceramic for you. Alright, so safety first, goggles on. Grab your tea towel. You want to securely wrap it around the entire vessel or ceramic that you're going to break. So I'm going to tuck it in so that all the little pieces that are going to break apart are going to stay in that towel and not hurt somebody. Alright, so now that your ceramic is nicely tucked in the tea towel completely, you're going to pick up your hammer and gently tap on the ceramic. The goal is to create larger pieces, especially for smaller children. Larger pieces are better, and we're going to discard the smaller pieces, but we'll get to that in a minute. Alright, so tap gently. Down your hammer. Now be really careful when unveiling, especially around little kids. We'll take out our ceramic. There it is. Alright. Now the next step is to take your larger pieces and separate them out from the smaller pieces. Look for any pieces that are sharp around the edges. You're going to either want to discard them for safety, or you can also use sandpaper to sand them down. Alright, and next step is mending.
So we're here behind the MAC Lab, and as you can see, we have broken a number of ceramics and laid them out on our table and spread them out so that different pieces of the vessels are spread out over the extent of the table. And we found this to be a really popular educational activity at the park. We've had parents tell us that they want to do it for birthday parties. So I think that this is something that you can very easily recreate at home. So what we do is we ask a student to choose a particular piece and then to use the color and the shape and the designs on that vessel to go around the table and pick up pieces that look like their fragment. So I'll choose 4 here. And then they can we just use painter's tape because it's really easy to use and not very sticky. And use it to put the pieces back together. I like to put the tape on the inside if it's a hollow vessel like a cup or a mug, and on the back side if it's a plate. And then you can put your pieces back together with tape. I find it really easy and convenient to tear off a bunch of strips of tape first and put them along the side of your table so that they're easy to reach and that you don't have to put your ceramic down. You may need to help younger students. Here's what it looks like on the back. You might need to help younger students with holding things in place or helping them put the tape down. We've also found that with younger students, it's easier to steer them first towards flat vessels like plates or saucers. Those are a little bit easier than things like cups or bowls. And as they are putting the ceramics together, you might want to query them. Have them hold up a piece and ask them what kind of vessel they think it is. Do they think it's a plate? Do they think it's a saucer? Do they think it's a cup? Why do they think that? Is the design on both the front and the back, or just on one side of the vessel? And does that help them figure out what their vessel might be? And as they begin to put their pieces together, does it become easier once their vessel starts getting larger? When you mend it, does it become easier to tell what the vessel is? As an extended activity, you can work with your students to understand the difference between circumference and diameter. Circumference is defined as the distance around something, and diameter is the distance from one point on a circle through the center to another point on the circle. So for this you will need a hollow vessel and a measuring tape. And then to define or understand circumference, you will just take your measuring tape and put it around the vessel, and we can see that the circumference of this canister is 15 inches. For diameter, you take the same measuring tape and then go from one edge on this plate through the center and out to the other edge, and we can see that this plate is 9¼ inches in diameter. So that's the difference between circumference and diameter. But what, if you're an archaeologist, what are you going to do with something like this, right? You don't have any way to measure the diameter of this plate because you don't have the entire plate. So what archaeologists have developed is this circumference template, which we will put as a link as a PDF from this website so that you can download it and use it at home. And it is marked out in 1/2-inch increments. And what you would do is take the edge of your broken vessel and slide it along these lines that designate the 1/2-inch increments until it fits perfectly right along the curve. And if you look here, you can see that this was a 10½ inch diameter plate. So that is the way that archaeologists can determine vessel diameter from just small fragments.